Hello, welcome back to my fave fanfics. Here, I post, well, my favorite fanfictions, if that wasn't obvious. I do hope you'll enjoy them as much as I do. Please like and subscribe for more content. Without further ado, let's get started.
Welcome, my dear faves, to the second part of What If Killua Was Transported to the World of My Hero Academia. Credit goes to Emissary of the Dragon for this fantastic fanfic. Chapter 4. Chapter 3. Battle Trial. The cafeteria was crowded at lunchtime, and the students inside loudly chatted. Finally, Killua walked to a table with only one occupant, the indigo-haired boy from before. Recognizing Killua, the boy accused, "Are you here to flaunt that you passed the entrance exam and I didn't?" Quote. "Nope, I just came because I recognized you, and you seem interesting," Killua replied honestly, setting down his food tray. The indigo-haired boy muttered frostily, "I find you interesting, but not in a good way. Why don't you just leave?" Quote. "Don't be like that. Why don't you tell me your name?" "I'm Killua Zoldyck, but you can call me Killua," Killua said. "My name is Hitoshi Shinso. Now, can you leave?" Hitoshi grumbled. "Nah, I don't feel like it." "What course are you in?" Killua answered. "General Studies, but as soon as the sports festival comes, I'll be taking a spot in the hero course," Shinso said. "You seem to have the drive to be a hero," Killua said. "Yes, but because of my quirk, I was thought to be a future villain, though I haven't committed any crimes," Shinso said. "What is your quirk?" "I won't judge you," Killua said. "I'll tell you, but don't think of me any differently, okay?" Shinso said. "Got it," Killua said. "My quirk is brainwashing," Shinso revealed. "Seems like a useful quirk, Hitoshi," Killua said. "So you're not judging me? And I never gave you permission to call me Hitoshi. Don't get overly familiar with me," Shinso said. "Why would I judge you? I did say I wouldn't. You seem like a decent person, and it's not like you've done anything villainous," Killua said. "Thanks. Your understanding means a lot to me. You're the first person besides my parents to not judge me because of my quirk," Shinso said awkwardly. "You're welcome. So, want to be friends?" Killua said, reaching his hand out. "No, you might not have judged for my quirk, but I'm not going to cozy up to a hero course student just yet," Shinso refused, hesitating before slapping Killua's hand away. "I can live with that, but I'm going to sit at your table if you don't mind. You can call me Killua. I'm not big on honorifics," Killua said. "I guess I wouldn't mind that. But that still doesn't make us friends." "But you're not too bad, I suppose," Shinso said. "Really? Thanks. I'll be going to my next class. Hero Basic Training. You can also attend if you transfer into the hero course," Killua said. "I will, Killua," Shinso said softly but determinedly. Then they parted ways, and Killua went to the 1A classroom. "I have come through the door like normal," All Might boomed. "I'm pretty sure normal people don't come through the door like that, and what's with the cape? Is it really necessary?" Killua thought. Members of Class 1A chattered, saying things like, "I can't believe All Might's really gonna teach us. And, he's wearing his Silver Age costume." Quote. "Hero Basic Training will be a class that'll put you through many ordeals to turn you into heroes. We will be doing battle training today. For that, you'll need costumes formed on your quirk registrations and requests," All Might announced. Then, Class 1A changed into their hero costumes and headed to Ground Beta. Killua wore a black jacket, gloves, a belt with his yo-yos, and black pants. Looking sharp, ladies and gentlemen. As of this moment, you're all heroes. Now, let's begin battle training. All Might said. Most of these hero outfits look unnecessarily flashy, gaudy, and impractical. Looks like Izuku's fanboy side is showing. Those bunny ears that look like the tufts of All Might's hair. Killua thought. Sensei, this looks like the same arena used in the entrance exam. Will we be doing metropolitan battles again? Ida asked. No. We'll be doing indoor battle training. Villain battles are typically outdoors, but the most despicable villains are more likely to be indoors. So now you'll be split into villain and hero teams and fight in 2-on-2 indoor battles. All Might said. So, no basic training beforehand? A frog-like girl asked. Fighting experience teaches you the basics to combat. But this time, you won't be fighting robots. All Might said. How is victory decided? A ponytailed girl asked. Can you just beat them up? Bakugo asked. How are teams divided? Ida asked. Isn't my cape exquisite? A caped guy said. Give me time to answer your questions. First, listen to the circumstances. The villains hide a nuclear weapon in their hideout. The heroes must secure the weapon or neutralize the heroes before the time limit is up. The villains must protect the weapon or capture the heroes before the time limit is up. Teams will be decided by drawing lots. All Might explained. Is this really the best way? Ida questioned. I see, since pro heroes often need to work with heroes from different agencies on the spot. Izuku deduced. I understand. You can proceed. Ida said. It's okay. Let's get started. All Might said as he drew the lots. Killua was paired with Momo Yaoyorozu in Team C. Now then, the first match will be Team A as the heroes and Team D as the villains. Everyone else, head to the monitor room. All Might declared. Killua watched Bakugo and Ida plan and saw Bakugo get agitated. I'm pretty sure Bakugo isn't going to work well with Mr. Straight-laced over there. He'll probably try to attack Izuku because he has a grudge against him. I deduced from how he attempted to attack him in the quirk apprehension test. Izuku was quirkless, and he and Bakugo share a past. I'm guessing Bakugo is unaware of how Izuku got a quirk. So Bakugo probably thinks Izuku had a quirk but hid it, so he's mad Izuku didn't say he had a quirk. But I don't see how Izuku is obligated to tell Bakugo that they don't seem close in any way. Killua thought. The footage showed the brown-haired girl and Izuku chatting. They seemed to be discussing their plan. 5 minutes after Team D entered, Team A snuck inside the building. Class, watch closely and try to learn something from this. All Might said. Then Bakugo ambushed Izuku and the brown-haired girl, launching an explosive attack. Izuku shielded the brown-haired girl, and Bakugo's attack grazed his bunny mask. A redhead criticized Bakugo, saying, "Surprise attacks are so unmanly, Bakugo." Quote. Killua scoffed at his naivete, thinking, "Idiot. In the real world, actual villains will play dirty, and ambushes are a clever strategy. Plus, it's not like Bakugo can hear you from here. Surprise attacks are still a reasonable strategy. This is real combat," All Might commented. Bakugo went to Izuku with a right hook, and Izuku grabbed his hand and flipped him over. Bakugo and Izuku engaged in furious dialogue that Class 1A couldn't hear. Killua saw an image of the glasses guy talking to Bakugo. What are they saying? I can't tell with the cameras. The redhead wondered. They're communicating with radios. I gave them the blueprints of the building as well as capture tape. Wrapping your opponent with the tape, they are captured. All Might explained. So the heroes have a 15-minute time limit, but they don't know where the bomb is, right? The pink-skinned girl questioned. Yes. All Might confirmed. The heroes have a real disadvantage, huh? The pink-skinned girl said. Heroes have to win no matter their circumstances. It's like Aizawa said. Say it with me. All Might exclaimed. With All Might, most of Class 1A yelled, plus Ultra. Quote. Then, turning back to the footage, Bakugo leapt toward Izuku, and the brown-haired girl ran ahead. Bakugo kicked Izuku, but Izuku wrapped the capture tape around his leg. Bakugo rushed at him with a right hook, but Izuku dodged and retreated. The video showed the brunette peeking from a wall, eyeing the glasses guy guarding the bomb. The brunette laughed at his monologue. The glasses guy pranced around describing his strategy, and the brunette cringed. The footage changed again, showing Izuku talking into his radio while hiding. Then it switched back to the brunette, communicating with him and going closer to the glasses guy. Suddenly, Bakugo found Izuku's hiding spot. Bakugo and Izuku talked, and Bakugo pointed a gauntlet at Izuku. Stop now, Bakugo. Are you trying to kill him? Exclamation mark. All Might commanded. Bakugo ignored him and unleashed a gigantic explosion. Isn't this just practice? Exclamation mark. The redhead asked. Izuku collapsed in the wreckage and looked at Bakugo fearfully, and Bakugo smirked. The building shook, and that distracted the glasses guy. The brunette, seeing her opportunity, leapt at the glasses guy and then used her quirk to levitate herself over him, reaching for the fake bomb. But the glasses guy grabbed it before she could. The footage went back to Izuku and Bakugo. Bakugo tried to provoke Izuku, but Izuku communicated with the brunette, ignoring him. Sensei, you have to stop him, Bakugo's insane. The redhead exclaimed. No. Bakugo, if you use that move again, I will end the match, and you'll lose. Using large attacks indoors is a poor strategy whether you're a hero or villain. All Might said. This guy is totally showing favoritism toward Izuku. I think he would end the match if it were a different team. All Might has a long way to go before becoming a competent teacher. Killua thought. Bakugo charged at Izuku, feinted with an explosion, and leapt behind him as Izuku tried to block his attack. Izuku cried out in pain at Bakugo's attack. He used the first explosion to feint and go behind him to attack again. The cyborg-looking guy deduced. He doesn't look like a tactician, but that strategy was well thought out, Ponytail observed. Bakugo swung at Izuku with a right hook, grabbed his arm, and pummeled Izuku. This is just cruel. He could already use the capture tape. The pink-skinned girl said. His actions aren't heroic, a crow-like boy commented. I thought Midoriya was strong, but Bakugo is on a whole other level. The blonde boy with a lightning strip in his hair said. He's running. The pink-skinned girl said. It's unmanly, but it's his only option, the redhead said. So Bakugo edged toward Izuku, whose back was against a wall. Then Bakugo and Izuku charged at each other, and for the first time in the exercise, Izuku used his quirk. Sensei, you should stop them. The redhead said. Both of you stop All Might said to the rivals. Then, the brunette grabbed a stone column, and Izuku smashed the ceiling. The brunette used the column and broke parts into tiny pieces, throwing them at the glasses guy. Then, she used her quirk to levitate. Izuku emerged from the debris, conversing with Bakugo. Finally, the brunette secured the fake bomb. All Might signaled the end of the match, saying, "The hero team wins." Exclamation mark. Quote. The losing team is barely injured while the winners have collapsed, the blonde boy noticed. So they lost the battle but won the war, the crow-like boy commented. It's only training, though, the frog-like girl said. Meanwhile, Bakugo looked shocked at his loss. Afterward, All Might gave him words of encouragement. I must say the VIP of this battle was Ida. All Might said. Oh, so that's the glasses guy's name. I better remember it. It looks like Bakugo's ego has taken a big blow. He has a lot of potential, but his personality and ego were squandering it. So this loss might make him improve. Killua thought. Not Midoriya or Ochako thought they won. The frog-like girl questioned. Does anyone know why? All Might asked. I do, All Might sensei. It's because Ida was the one who adapted to the circumstances the most. From what I could tell, Bakugo's actions were motivated by a grudge. And like you already said, sensei, using large-scale attacks indoors is foolish. Midoriya suffered from the same shortcomings. Uraraka lost focus midway, and her last seizure was too slapdash. If it had been an actual bomb, such an attack would be unthinkable. However, Ida made a real strategy and envisioned what a real battle would be like. His only fault was his late reaction at the end. The hero team only won since this was a training exercise with exploitable conditions. Ponytail explained. Yes, you're correct. I would add that Ida was too stiff, though. All Might said. We're starting at the bottom and working our way up. If we don't try our hardest, we can't be top heroes. Ponytail said. His expression is totally saying. She said it way better than I could. Ponytail looks like a competent enough partner. Killua thought. After a series of matches, it was finally Team C's turn. Team G will be the heroes, and Team C will be the villains. All Might announced. Killua and Momo Yaoyorozu entered the building. I'm Killua Zoldyck, but call me Killua. My quirk is electricity. Can you tell me your name and quirk? Killua asked. I'm Momo Yaoyorozu. I can create any non-living thing if I understand its molecular structure. Momo Yaoyorozu said. I have a plan. First, we should hide the bomb on the lowest level and set traps to intercept the heroes. Then, when the heroes come into the building, I'll eavesdrop and tell you their plan via radio so you'll be prepared to stop them in case I fail. Killua said. I agree with this plan. Let's prepare the traps, Yaoyorozu said. Using Yaoyorozu's quirk, they made a string to trip over the unsuspecting classmate into a pitfall trap. In 5 minutes, the hero team went inside the building. The blonde guy has lightning patterns over his jacket, and the girl has strange earlobes. I'm assuming their quirks are lightning and hearing related. Killua analyzed. I'm Kyoka Jiro, and my quirk is earphone jack. I can plug my earlobes into objects, channel vibrations, and detect sounds with them. Kyoka Jiro said. My name is Denki Kaminari, and my quirk is electrification. I make electricity, but my brain short-circuits if I use it too much. Denki Kaminari. I have a plan. I'll use my quirk to hear if the villains are there, and you can blast them with electricity. Kyoka Jiro said. All right, let's go with that. Denki Kaminari said. Killua hid behind a wall and overheard their conversation. In the monitor room, Kirishima said, eavesdropping is so unmanly. Quote. It's still a valid tactic, and Zoldyck is playing the part of a villain. All Might said. Killua retreated 2 levels before informing Yaoyorozu, the girl has a quirk that's basically super hearing. So, she will try to find vibrations in the ground to track us. Then, when they find us, the boy will shoot electricity at us. Understood, Yaoyorozu responded. I'll ambush them and target Denki with the capture tape. Then I'll capture Kyoka, Killua said. Alright, but be cautious, Yaoyorozu said. Then Killua ambushed the duo with his yo-yos, crushing them with the string. What? Exclamation mark. I can't use my quirk. Exclamation mark. Denki said, surprised. You rely on your quirks too much. Without them, you're just a pair of teenagers with no combat experience or skill. Killua said while Team G struggled. But how are your yo-yos restraining us? Kyoka asked. Well, that's for me to know and for you to not find out. Did you really expect me to answer? An actual villain wouldn't reveal their plans. Killua mocked. Tick marks appeared on Kyoka's forehead, and she struggled harder. If you struggle harder, you'll just end up more restrained, Killua warned. Flashback. Killua was going to submit my costume request form to Power Loader. So Killua went to the support course development studio to find him. When Killua entered, he found him reprimanding a pink-haired girl. Hatsume. School hasn't even started yet, so you can't touch the tools. Power Loader said. I've been accepted to the support course. It should be fine for me to start working on my babies, Hatsume said. Excuse me, I'm here to submit my hero costume request form, Killua said. A hero course student. Exclamation mark. I can build a baby for you. Exclamation mark. Hatsume said excitedly. Sorry about her. I'll look over your form now. Power Loader said, looking at my form. Hatsume. Come over here. I might have a preschool project for you to work on. Power Loader said. What is it? Exclamation mark. Hatsume asked. Can you build some yo-yos? First, it would be best to ask him how he wants it. Then, he can provide you with details. Power Loader said. So what do you need? Do you have blueprints or anything? Hatsume asked. I have a model for you to use, Killua said as he handed his yo-yo to her. A yo-yo. You want me to build a toy? Hatsume said, her excitement deflating instantly. It's not really a toy. But, it works well with my quirk and fighting style. Killua said. Hatsume stared at the yo-yo, her interest growing bigger. Give it. Hatsume said. It's pretty heavy, Killua warned. Just hand it over. Hatsume said. Suit yourself, Killua said, shrugging. Hatsume's hand was nearly crushed by the weight of the yo-yo, and she yelped in pain. Hatsume dropped the yo-yo before it broke her hand, leaving a dent in the ground. You can't say I didn't warn you, Killua said, amused. Hatsume looked at the yo-yo as if it were the most fascinating thing she had ever seen. How much does this thing weigh? She asked, struggling to pick it up with both hands. 50 kilos, Killua said casually. Can you make 2 replicas with a quirk erasing string? Quote. No problem. I'll have it built in 1 month. No 2 weeks. Hatsume exclaimed confidently. Also, can you build me a taser? Killua asked. Yes. I think I already have an idea for the taser, Hatsume said, getting a wad of paper and sketching furiously. Then Killua left. 2 weeks later. Killua returned to the support course development studio and saw Hatsume. Her eyes were bloodshot. Hatsume said. Oh, you're here. I've finished them. She motioned to the table. Here are your yo-yos and tasers. I call these taser gloves. They have a secret compartment with wires that absorb electricity and tase you. Quote. Killua tested the gloves and opened the secret compartment, and the wire tased him with a good dose of electricity. Then he tried the yo-yos, they felt light and flexible. Thanks for the equipment, Killua said, but Hatsume's head had already hit the table, and she started snoring. I hope the equipment is good. Hatsume tried her best. And her best is pretty darn good. Power loader. No normal kid can pick up 50 kilos like it's nothing. In fact, few heroes can. Only All Might and some others could. So what's with this kid's strength? Exclamation mark. He's definitely not an ordinary student. Power loader thought. It sure is. Thanks again for the help you and Hatsume provided. Killua said. The present. Killua knocked them out with a chop to the neck and used the capture tape. I've captured them, Momo, Killua said. Good work, Zoldyck-san. But please address me as Yaoyorozu complimented. From where I come, everyone calls each other by their first names. So I called you Momo out of habit. Also, call me Killua. Killua said. But, it's impolite to address someone so casually. Yaoyorozu protested. I said I was fine with it, so it should be okay, Killua replied. Why don't we have a compromise? I'll call you, Killua-san. Yaoyorozu proposed. Sure. Killua agreed. The villain team has won. All Might announced. Team C entered the monitor room. Team G was carried around in stretchers. It was so manly when you knocked them out. The redhead complimented. You have cool moves, Zoldyck. The pink-skinned girl said, impressed. Thanks, Killua said, unused to the attention. Finally, after a few minutes, Team G woke up. Where are we? Denki said drowsily. We're in the monitor room, Gold walking up in stretchers. So this means Team C won. Kyoka answered. After a few more matches, the battle trial exercise concluded. After that, Killua and the rest of Class 1A, except Izuku, headed to the classroom. Killua overheard Izuku's conversation with Bakugo when he walked to his apartment. Izuku, you're being an idiot. Your quirk was meant to be kept under wraps. And you're telling Bakugo of all people. What has he done to deserve it? And haven't you thought of people eavesdropping on your conversation like me? This is getting recorded. Killua thought. Then Killua did his homework, made dinner, brushed his teeth, and slept. Chapter 5, Chapter 4. Class President in the USJ. As Killua walked to school, he noticed the reporters swarming UA. What's it like being taught by All Might? A reporter questioned. Killua ignored her and walked into UA gates before the security measures were raised. If I had to describe All Might as a teacher, I'd say he's inexperienced, does a poor job of teaching, and plays favorites. All Might is a pretty incompetent teacher. Maybe I'm judging him a bit harshly since it was his first day on the job, and he's more of a fighter than a teacher, but you can be a decent fighter and a decent teacher. All Might has nothing on Bisky. The gorilla hag would totally obliterate him in her true form. Mingled with those reporters, I think I sensed some bloodlust. One of the reporters there has ill intentions to or someone there like All Might. Or a villain could be disguised as a reporter. The so-called symbol of peace would make sense as a target. It would be stupid to attack with only one fighter unless they're on par with All Might or stronger, so maybe that person is here to infiltrate or scout out the hero's teaching there. Whatever the case, I should prepare for a villain attack, Killua thought. Then, he entered the 1A classroom and went to his desk. Eraserhead addressed the class, saying, "Good work on yesterday's battle training. I've reviewed your results. Bakugo, stop wasting your talent by being a brat." "Understood." Bakugo complied. "In Midoriya, it seems you ended up with another broken arm. Learn how to control because trying alone won't work. I dislike repeating myself. With your potential, if you overcome this issue, there's much you'll be able to achieve." Eraserhead said. "Okay." Izuku said. "Now, onto homeroom business. I apologize for the late notification, but you'll pick a class president." Eraserhead said. "It's actually a normal school activity." Most of Class 1A said in surprise and relief. Then, excitedly, they raised their hand and voiced their want to be class president. Silence. Being class president is a serious responsibility. The position isn't for anyone who wants to do it. It requires the trust of those around them. If this is a democracy, I suggest we hold an election. Ida suggested. "But Ida, we don't know each other well enough to build trust." A frog-like girl interjected. "Plus, everyone's just gonna vote for themselves." A spiky-haired redhead added. "Exactly. That's why the person with multiple votes will be best suited for the position." "Will you permit this, Sensei?" Ida reasoned. "Whatever, just get this done quickly." Eraserhead grumbled. "I don't really care about getting the position. It'll just give me unwanted attention. Though I know just who to vote for. He is suitable for the job. It'll also annoy a certain Pomeranian." Killua thought, his lips curled in a smirk. The board showed the rankings. Izuku at 4 votes, Ponytail at 2 votes, etc. "Who the heck voted for Deku?" Exclamation mark. Bakugo asked, agitated. "Now we know it wasn't you." A black-haired boy said. "I did," Killua admitted. "Huh! Exclamation mark. Bakugo snorted in indignation. "Well, I did it to annoy you and select a good president," Killua said cheekily. "I'll get you for this, you brat," Bakugo promised. "Brat? Aren't you the one acting like a brat here?" "In any case, I must be going, Bakubrat," Killua questioned and went back to his seat. "The president will be Izuku Midoriya and the vice president will be Momo Yaoyorozu," Eraserhead announced. Afterward, it was lunchtime, so Killua joined Hitoshi at his table. "Hey, Hitoshi. How was your day?" Killua asked. "Fine. How was yours?" Hitoshi replied. "It was normal, but we did elect a class president, so I had a chance to annoy the class Pomeranian," Killua said. "Class Pomeranian?" Hitoshi said, confused. "Yup. Do you know how most classes have a class clown? Well, Class 1A is a little different. Instead of a class clown, we have a class Pomeranian, basically an angry and amusing hothead," Killua explained. "Oh, I see," Hitoshi said, still confused. "When you meet him, you'll understand," Killua promised. Suddenly, an alarm sounded. A voice said, "Security level 3 is broken. All students, please evacuate in a neat and orderly fashion." "Killua, what are you doing?" "We should evacuate now," Hitoshi said. "I'll join you later. There's something I need to take care of," Killua said. "Okay, but be safe," Hitoshi requested. "I will," Killua said. Then he walked in the opposite direction of which the students were evacuating. It's disappointing all these students are so panicked. It's not as if they're facing a threat. Yet. As I doubt any of them know how to detect bloodlust. And they're from the top hero school, UA. If UA produces such incompetent students, maybe I shouldn't have come. I remember the media crowding around the school today. And the person who admitted that bloodlust is likely the one who breached security. But I'll check just to be sure. Killua thought. Concentrating, Killua sensed the bloodlust he had felt earlier. Then, homing in on it, Killua sensed the bloodlust just around the corner. So he noticed a man with hands over his head and a man of mist talking. "Let's go," the misty man said. "This worked better than I thought." With the teachers distracted, it was so easy to snag a flash drive. The hand man said. "Don't be too laid back. We may have obtained the schedule data, but there's still a chance we could get caught. We should leave now," the mist man said, cautious. "Fine, let's go, Kurogiri," the hand man said. Then, the mistman warped them to their base. So the mist man is Kurogiri. They seem to be villains likely targeting All Might, just as I thought. Looks like my life's going to get a little more interesting soon. Should I tell UA about them? Nah, that'd be boring. I'll just see how this plays out. Well then, villains know this. It's a whole new game with a hunter among the players. Killua thought. After the evacuation, Izuku elected Ida to be class president in his place. The next day. For today's hero training, All Might, myself and another will teach. Eraserhead said. What will we be doing? The spiky black-haired boy asked. Preparing you for disasters, floods, etc. It's rescue training, Eraserhead said while holding a rescue flashcard. Sounds like we have our work cut out for us. The boy with a lightning streak in his hair remarked. Right. The pink-haired girl agreed. This is what being a hero is all about. I'm ready. The spiky redhead said. Hey, I'm not done. It's optional to wear your costume since some are ill-suited to this training. The training will take place off campus, so we'll go by bus. That's all. Get ready, Eraserhead informed. Then they prepared and hopped on the bus. I say what's on my mind, Midoriya. The frog-like girl said. Yes, Asui. Izuku asked. Call me Suyu. Your quirk is similar to All Might's. Suyu said. It's about time someone noticed. Looks like not everyone here is an oblivious hero wannabe. You'd think it couldn't get more blatant. To think I'm impressed by someone making a simple deduction like this. Honestly, my standards have lowered, maybe to suit this world. But, alas, this world is riddled with foolishness and incompleteness. Be careful, Izuku, or you'll be discovered. Or maybe he'll tell them. He does seem like the type. I know to relieve my boredom, I'll make a guess when he reveals his quirk's inner workings. 1 to 2 years, I think. Sadly, my life is reduced to guessing when a high schooler will expose his life-threatening secret. Maybe Gon's sense of adventure has infected me. That I'm going to school is sad in itself. I almost prefer the homeschooling Zoldyck style to this. At least there's Hitoshi. But I really want to go to my world soon. Now, then, back to the tiresome reality. Killua thought, ignoring his classmates. Soon enough, they arrived at their destination joint. Well, what'ya, you know. We're here already. Who's the weirdo in the astronaut suit? Our third teacher. Killua thought. Welcome, everyone, to the USJ or Unforeseen Stimulation Joint. The astronaut wannabe said. It's the space hero. 13. The gentleman who does her best in rescue operations. Izuku fanboyed. I love 13. The brown-haired girl squealed. A flood, fire, landslide, etc. The USJ had every possible disaster and accident. I built it myself, 13 explained. 13, where's All Might? He should be here, Eraserhead said. About that, it seems he reached his limit. Doing too much hero work, so he's resting in the lounge. 13 explained. It looks like the staff knows about All Might's condition and maybe even his successor. No, Eraserhead didn't seem to know about the successor thing. Perhaps that knowledge is limited to the principal and a select few. Killua thought. Much too irrational. Very well, we should get started. Eraserhead said. Before we begin, I have a point or two to make. Or a couple. I'm sure you all know about my quirk, black hole. It can suck in and tear apart anything. 13 said. And you've used it to rescue people in many disasters. Izuku said enthusiastically. Yes, but it is also a power that can kill. I'm sure some of you possess similar quirks. In our superpowered society, quirk use is heavily monitored and restricted. So, it may seem like our system has a few flaws. However, we must not forget that people will die with one wrong misstep with a destructive quirk. With Aizawa's physical, you learned of your hidden potential. Through All Might's combat training, you experienced the damage your quirks can cause. This class will give you a new perspective. You'll learn how to use your quirks to save lives. Your quirks aren't meant to inflict harm. I hope you leave knowing you were given quirks to help others. That's all. Thank you for listening, 13 stated. She's so cool. The brown-haired girl exclaimed. Bravo. Bravo. Ida applauded. All right. First, Aizawa said before a portal opened with villains coming out of it. So it's Misty and Handyman or Mr. McCrusty. His lips are really crusty. Looks like I was right. Killua thought. Stay together and don't move. 13. Protect the students. Aizawa ordered. Is it like the entrance exam? The spiky redhead asked. Don't move. Those are real villains. Aizawa said. Chapter 6, Chapter 5. The USJ Incident. Villains. But how could they get into UA? The redhead asked. Sensei, aren't there trespasser sensors? Ponytail asked. Yes, there are, but 13 trailed off. Are the sensors only here or also around the school? If the sensors were disabled, it must have been one of their quirks. The USJ is quite far from the campus, and they decided to attack when a class was there. They're smarter than they seem. This ambush was carefully planned with some objective in mind. Todoroki deduced. 13. Evacuate the students and try to contact the school. The villains are jamming the sensors somehow. It's likely someone with an electric-type quirk. Kaminari, try to call the school, too. Aizawa instructed. Got it. Denki said. But Sensei, you can't fight them by yourself. With so many villains, you won't be able to erase their quirks. Your fighting style is using your quirk and capture scarf. Fighting them head-on, Izuku said, worried. No hero is a one-trick pony. Protect the students, 13. Aizawa stated. Then he leapt into battle, swinging his scarf. Shooting squad, time to go. A masked villain commanded. Our intel said it was just 13 in All Might. So who's he? A tentacle-haired villain asked. I don't know, but he's coming at us alone. A horned villain responded as Aizawa ran toward the villains. So he's a moron. The horned villain finished. The villains activated their quirks, but Aizawa erased them and subdued them, villains. Morons. That's Eraserhead, he nullifies quirks by looking at you. Another villain remarked. A different villain stepped forward to challenge Aizawa and asked, so he nullifies quirks, huh? Let's see whether that works on heteromorphic quirks. Quote. It doesn't. It only works on operative or transformative type quirks. But guys like you do best in close combat, so I've taken countermeasures for you. Aizawa replied. He's strong in hand-to-hand combat. And his goggles cover his eyes, so we don't know whose quirk he's erasing. Even a mob of villains doesn't slow him down. I see. I hate pro-heroes. Normal villains don't stand a chance against them. Handyman analyzed, observing Aizawa defeat the villains. Impressive. He holds his own even outnumbered. Izuku remarked. This isn't the time for analysis. We need to evacuate. Ida urged. I won't allow that, said Misty. Greetings, we are the League of Villains. Forgive our presumptuousness, but we invited ourselves to Ua, the home of heroes, to end All Might, the symbol of peace's life. We believed All Might would be here today, but it seems there was some change. However, this doesn't change my role. Misty announced. Bakugo and Redhead charged at Misty, Bakugo with his gauntlet, and Redhead with his sharpened arm. Not if we beat you first, Bakugo said. Don't count us out yet. Redhead proclaimed. That was close. Though you're students, you're still the cream of the crop. Misty praised. No, both of you get back. 13 warned. My role in this is to send you all to your deaths. Misty declared as he teleported Class 1A to different locations. Killua fell into the water and spotted the frog girl. He calmly swam to her and lifted her to the boat when she grabbed Izuku from the sea. Thanks, Asui-san and Zoldyck-san, Izuku said, grateful. Call me Sue. We seem to be in trouble. Sue said. All right, Sue-san. Izuku gave in. I told you, Izuku, call me Killua, Killua interjected. But it would be too rude. Izuku stammered. But you just called Asui, Sue. So why can't you call me Killua? Killua argued. Well, I addressed Sue-san with san, Izuku said. Then you could call me, Killua-san, if just, Killua, is too rude, Killua compromised. Sure, Killua-san. The villains know our schedule. They likely caused the media to distract the teachers so they could see our schedule. Like Todoroki said, they've planned this thoroughly. Izuku answered. You're right, Izuku. But the villains Aizawa-sensei faced were just thugs. Killua said. I'm not sure, Killua. The villains were pretty confident that they could kill All Might. They wouldn't have come to be thrashed. They even promised to kill us. And if All Might doesn't come in time, we could die. And maybe even if he does come, he could die. Sue speculated. We'll see. Killua shrugged. They must have found a way to beat All Might. That has to be it. It wouldn't make sense otherwise. There has to be a specific objective. A reason. A reason. If there's even the smallest chance they have a way to beat All Might, then we have to fight. Izuku decided. I agree. Let's form a battle plan, Sue said. From what happened earlier, we can deduce that the villains there specialize in aquatic combat, right? Izuku figured. So their leader must have known about the USJ's different zones. Sue deduced. Yes. Their intel knew that much. But something's odd. They put you in the flood zone. Exclamation mark. Izuku pointed out. I see what you're thinking, Killua thought. And Sue said, prompting Izuku to continue. What I mean is that they don't know our quirks, Izuku said. If they knew about my frog quirk, they would have sent me to the fiery area, Sue stated. Because they were ignorant of our quirks, their plan was to separate us and overwhelm us with numbers. Killua deduced. Because of their numbers and experience, we only have one way to win. By exploiting that they don't know our quirks. They aren't trying to come abroad. Izuku concluded. I can jump high, stick to walls, my tongue can stretch to 20 meters, and secrete a poisonous fluid. I say poisonous, but it just stings a little. Sue described. Wow, you're stronger than I thought. I have super strength, but I'm out of commission right after using it. Izuku explained. My quirk is electricity. I can produce electricity if I'm tasered or receive enough electricity. Killua said. Suddenly, one of the villains sliced the ship in two. I'm getting bored here. We should finish this, he said. So strong. He split the ship in two. Sue remarked in awe. I have a plan, Izuku, Sue. Killua whispered his plan into their ears. It's pretty simple, but it sounds effective. Let's do it, Izuku said. I agree, Sue said. Killua tasered himself and used his thunderbolt technique to conduct electricity into the water. The villain froze, stunned by the electricity, and then became unconscious. The villains are unconscious for now. We should leave before they wake up, Killua announced. Then Suyu wrapped her tongue around Izuku, grabbed Killua's hand, and jumped near the shore. So, what should we do now? Sue asked. Now, we should call for help and, if possible, avoid the plaza, then go for the exit, Izuku said. At the shore, we spotted Aizawa. Looks like Aizawa is luring them to the plaza. There are too many of them. He's beating them, but he won't be able to keep this up forever. He knew that but still protected us. Izuku said. Are you thinking what I think you are? Killua asked. I'm not saying we should dive into the right. Only when we see a chance we should try to help Sensei. Izuku said. Sounds good, Killua replied. Sue nodded her head in agreement. 23 seconds. 20 seconds. Handyman counted. So you're the boss? Aizawa questioned, swinging his scarf at the man. Grabbing onto Aizawa's scarf, the villain continued counting, 17 seconds. It's hard to catch when you're moving about, but there are moments when your hair falls over your eyes. When you finish an attack, your max duration is shortened. Don't overdo it, Eraserhead. Handyman observed and partially disintegrated his elbow when Aizawa elbowed him before Aizawa punched him and jumped back. Two more villains lunged at him, and Aizawa narrowly evaded their attacks. Handyman went on. Your quirk isn't suited to long, group battles, huh? This is different than your usual work, yeah. You're more suited to quick ambushes. But you rushed into this fight. Hoping to make the kids feel safe. How cool. You're too cool, Eraserhead. By the way, I'm the boss. He is. Handyman pointed to some mutant bird monster. It pinned down Aizawa. This is the anti-symbol of peace, the bioengineered Nomu. Handyman introduced. Erasing quirks. It's pretty useful but nothing special. In the face of overwhelming strength, you might as well be quirkless. The Nomu broke Aizawa's arm, and he screamed in agony. Midoriya, what should we do? Sue whispered. But Midoriya was rendered speechless by the sight of his injured teacher. What should I do? Aizawa is a true hero, risking his life for students. But I'm no hero. And helping him could get in the way of going home. After all, if I showed I could defeat an enemy a pro hero couldn't, that would be too suspicious. And I'd do almost anything to see Iluka again. Whatever I do, I need to make a decision soon. Aizawa's time is running out. Killua thought. Misty warped himself over. Kurogiri, is 13 dead? Handyman asked. Tamura Shigaraki, she's been incapacitated, but I couldn't warp away some students. And one of them is getting help. Kurogiri responded. Kurogiri, if you weren't our ticket out of here, I'd turn you to ashes. We wouldn't stand a chance against dozens of pros. So it's game over. For now, at least. So we're going, Shigaraki said, scratching his neck irritatedly. They're leaving, Killua said. Yeah, but there seems to be something off about this, Sue remarked. I know. To do this and then just leave on a whim. There's something odd. Izuku agreed. You're both right. The villain's going to leave a mark on this school. I doubt they would leave without doing something to irritate All Might. Killua stated seriously. But before we do, let's leave some dead kids to wound the pride of the symbol of peace. Shigaraki decided and then lunged at Sue. Before he could kill her, Aizawa intervened, taking her place. You really are cool, erase her head, Shigaraki commented. Izuku, though trembling, charged at Shigaraki and shouted, get off her. Quote. Shigaraki retaliated by sicking the Nomu on him. Izuku responded by introducing his fist to Nomu. But his punch had no effect, and Killua knew if he was going to act, he had to now. He's trembling and probably scared out of his wits. But Izuku is fighting anyway. For Sue. For Aizawa. And for me. If I don't interfere soon, he's going to die. Should I save him? Someone like me saving people. Who would have thought? But Izuku, Aizawa, and Sue are decent people. If I can save them, shouldn't I? I don't even know them well. I barely know them at all. I really am getting soft. I hope this doesn't bite me back later. Killua thought. He put Aizawa in a safer area and took Izuku's place, fighting Nomu. Izuku, I'll take it from here. Protect Aizawa and Sue while I fight Nomu. Killua said. Alright, Killua-san. Izuku answered, and he stood in front of Aizawa and Sue. Nomu, crush this brat. Show him your power. Shigaraki ordered. Nomu obeyed and faced Killua. Killua punched the Nomu with a fraction of his strength, bruising it. Then he flipped it over, pounded its face into the ground, and stepped on it. Nomu, kill this brat already. Shigaraki commanded. The Nomu charged at Killua, trying to land blows on the teen. The Nomu's attacks are pretty destructive but sloppy and reckless. I can use that. Killua thought. Nomu charged at him again, but Killua evaded his attack. Then All Might appeared, but there was no smile on his face. Instead, All Might scowled and voiced, "Fear not. I am here. It's time for me to leave this fight. All Might can take it from here." I don't want to damage my cover even further. Even if it was just Izuku and Sue. Killua thought. The villains stared in fear and awe of All Might. All Might easily defeated dozens of them. Then he grabbed Aizawa, Izuku, Killua, and Sue farther away from the villains and shoved Shigaraki away. Everyone, go to the entrance. Take Aizawa with you. He's unconscious, All Might commanded. Then Shigaraki stepped forward, and one of his hands dropped. It's no good. No good at all, I'm sorry, Father. Shigaraki picked up the hand he called, Father. Talk about a sick fetish calling a hand your father. Killua thought. Throwing punches to save others. That's the violence sponsored by the government. You're quick, too quick to follow with my eyes, but not as quick as expected. Maybe it's true after all, that's All Might's getter weaker. Shigaraki said and smiled sinisterly. My attack wasn't strong enough to break my arm, but he didn't even flinch. Against that, Izuku said, worried. Young Midoriya, don't worry. I'll be fine. All Might reassured him. After that, Izuku, Killua, and Sue began retreating to the entrance. All Might charged at Nomu, shouting, Carolina Smash. But just like Izuku's punch, it had no effect. All Might looked at the Nomu, surprised, it didn't get any damage, huh? In that case, how about this? And he struck the Nomu's face. All Might jumped back when his attack didn't work. Smashing his face doesn't work either, huh? All Might noticed. It didn't work because of his shock absorption. If you really wanted to hurt Nomu, it'd be more effective to slowly rip him apart. Not that he'd allow you to do that. Shigaraki mocked. Thanks for telling me that. All Might said and slammed the Nomu upside down. It looks like they may have underestimated All Might, Killua remarked. But he still uses notes to teach, Sue commented. Too true. Killua agreed. I've found someone else who knows that All Might is a lousy teacher and admits it. I'm liking Sue more by the minute. Killua thought. It seems we were worried for nothing, after all. It's nice that you also agree that All Might is lacking in the teaching department, Killua. Sue spoke. I feel the same way. I'm glad to have found a kindred spirit. Killua replied, and the two fist bumped. Meanwhile, having pinned down Nomu, All Might had the disadvantage. Blood ran down his mouth, and half of the Nomu pierced his wound, and the other half was pinned down by All Might in a warp. So that's how it is. All Might grunted. So you were trying to stop Nomu from moving by driving him into concrete. It wouldn't have succeeded since Nomu is your equal in strength. Great job, Kurogiri. Nice timing, really. Shigaraki gloated. Impressive for first-time offenders, but prepare yourselves. All Might declared. I dislike having blood and guts in my warp gate, but if they're yours, I don't mind. Nomu's job was to stop your speed and mine to close the warp gate on you while you're immobilized halfway and tear you to pieces. Shigaraki said. Sue-san, Killua-san, could you take care of Aizawa-sensei for me? Izuku. Sure, but why? Sue asked, and Killua nodded. But Killua tailed Izuku instead of staying behind with Aizawa. Izuku rushed at All Might with no time to spare, but Kurogiri blocked his way. But luckily, Bakugo arrived and exploded Kurogiri. Move out of my way, Deku. Bakugo commanded. Then Bakugo slammed Kurogiri to the ground. After that, Todoroki started freezing Nomu with Redhead behind him. Todoroki commented, I heard you planned to kill All Might. Then, Redhead lunged at Shigaraki with his sharpened arm. Killua kicked Shigaraki away. Darn, I almost got him, Redhead said. You're not all that, you, Misty Extra. Bakugo insulted. Scum like you could never kill the symbol of peace, Todoroki stated. You gloated before, but it looks like you're nothing without your precious Nomu, handyman, Killua mocked. Kachan. Everyone. Killua-san, I thought you were with Aizawa-sensei and Su-san. Izuku said, astonished. What can I say? I couldn't help letting you hog all the fun, Izuku. Killua told him carefreely. All Might escaped from Nomu's grip thanks to Todoroki's eyes. You pinned down our way out. This is a problem, Shigaraki voiced. You messed up, you bastard. It's just like I thought. Only certain parts of you can warp, and you use that mist to cover your actual body. If your entire body was mist and physical attacks wouldn't land, you wouldn't have said, that was close. Don't move. If you try anything, I'll blow you up. Bakugo gloated smugly. That's not very heroic, Redhead commented. You've captured Kurogiri, and you're all almost uninjured. Today's kids sure are something. The League of Villains is shamed because of you. Nomu, get that explosion, brat. We need Kurogiri back, Shigaraki commanded. He's falling apart, but he's still moving. Exclamation mark. Izuku said, shocked. Get back, everyone. But I thought his quirk was shock absorption. All Might questioned as Nomu started regenerating. I never said that was his only quirk. This is high-speed regeneration. Nomu is a superpowered punching bag designed to take everything you've got. Shigaraki revealed. Nomu punched All Might, pushing him back. The shockwaves pushed the teens back. Izuku looked at Bakugo, amazed, you dodged it. He asked. I didn't. Shut it, Deku. Bakugo said, irritated. He really doesn't know how to hold back. All Might said. It was to save my partners, just like when the plain-looking one came at me with all he had. But using violence to save others is admirable, right hero? But, you know something, All Might. It makes me angry. Both heroes and villains use violence, but we're categorized anyway, deciding whether we're good or evil. Symbol of peace. Hey. You're just a tool for violence to suppress us. Violence only breeds more violence. I'll show the world by killing you. Shigaraki ranted. That's ridiculous. Criminals with those ideals have a different light in their eyes. You just want to enjoy yourself, you liar. All Might accused. You saw right through me. Shigaraki conceded. It's 3-on-5, Todoroki said. But Kachan already showed us the Mist Man's weak point. Izuku said. These are some crazy strong guys, but we can stop them by helping All Might. Redhead commented. No. Get out of here, All Might said. If we hadn't helped you, things would have been different, Todoroki argued. All Might, you're bleeding, and I think your time's you, Izuku added. You're right, young Todoroki. But it's fine. Watch a pro get serious. All Might said. Nomu, Kurogiri get him. I'll fight the kids. Let's win the game and leave. Shigaraki commanded. He's coming. Get ready, guys. Redhead warned as Shigaraki rushed at the teens. All Might and Nomu engaged in an epic battle of fists, neither giving an inch. Shigaraki noticed All Might pounding Nomu and said, he had shock absorption. You've already seen it. Quote. That's right. All Might agreed. A head-on assault. Exclamation mark. Izuku questioned. It's absorption, not negation, so he must have a limit. Built to kill me, you said. Designed to take everything I've got. Exclamation mark. Then I'll go beyond that. Exclamation mark. All Might declared. All Might and Nomu continued beating each other. A hero is always prepared to smash through the trouble. Villain, do you know the meaning of plus ultra? Question mark. All Might asked and punched Nomu straight out of the dome. Just like from the comics. His strength is crazy. Redhead said, amazed. Up against that sheer power that regeneration couldn't hold up. Bakugo observed. So this is All Might's power. He's strong, but he's weakening. If I have to fight him, I think I can take him. Killua thought. I really am growing weaker. In my prime, 5 hits would have been enough. But that took over 300 punches. So, villain, why don't we finish this? All Might asked. You've weakened! Exclamation mark. You haven't gotten weaker at all. They lied to me. You cheated. Shigaraki accused him petulantly. Well. Are you going to finish this? Weren't you going to win the game? Beat me if you can. All Might asked mockingly. Looks like we weren't needed, Todoroki commented. Midoriya, we could leave. But, if we go, they might take one of us hostage. Redhead warned. No, you're wrong, Todoroki. Fighting Nomu has taken out a lot from All Might. He won't be able to maintain that form for long. This is just a bluff. I wonder if he'll fall for it. It looks like only Izuku noticed this as well. Killua thought. So, what's wrong? All Might asked. If only we still had Nomu. If only. He was doing so well. Shigaraki said. Tamura Shigaraki, calm yourself. Nomu did deal some damage. The children are holding back. But if we both attack All Might, we may be able to win. Kurogiri advised. Yes. Yes, yes. We can still do this. The final boss is in front of us. Shigaraki said. We'll leave the big bads to All Might. Let's see if we can help the others. Redhead decided. Midoriya, Todoroki urged. This is vengeance for Nomu. Shigaraki said as he and Kurogiri rushed at All Might. But before they could hurt All Might, Izuku leapt at Kurogiri to punch him. Get away from All Might. Izuku screamed. Before he could injure All Might, Shigaraki moved his hand toward Izuku's face. But a bullet pierced Shigaraki's hand. They're here. All Might said, referring to the pro-heroes. Sorry for dropping by late. We brought everyone we could. Principal Nezu apologized. President of Class 1A, Tenya Ida, has returned. Ida said. Ah, they're here. So it's game over for now. But we'll kill you next time. Shigaraki vowed as Kurogiri warped them away. As All Might transformed back, Killua recorded that moment on his phone for his own reasons. All Might and Izuku were brought to the nurse's office. Meanwhile, at the League of Villains hideout. OWW. I was shot in both arms and both legs. We were crushed. All Might got Nomu, too. Our cannon fodder was taken down so quickly. Even those kids were strong. The symbol of peace hasn't gotten weaker. You were wrong, Master. Shigaraki moaned on the floor. No, I wasn't. We were just overconfident. Yes, we underestimated him. It's good those thugs were cheap. And what happened to Nomu? Did you retrieve him? The voice from the TV screen asked. No, he was sent flying. And unless we find his exact coordinates, no warping will allow us to find him. I didn't have enough time then. Kurogiri. That's a shame. After the trouble we went through to make him as strong as All Might. The voice said. Strong. Right. There was one kid who was as quick as All Might. Shigaraki said. Oh. The voice prompted. If he didn't get in our way, we could have killed All Might. That stupid kid. That brat. Shigaraki complained. No point in crying over spilled milk. This wasn't a complete loss. Find the strongest fighters. Use all the time you need. We can't move freely. That's why we need a symbol like you. Tamura Shigaraki, next time, the world will know of your terror. The voice declared. Somewhere in Ua. Killua Zoldyck, just who are you? A voice wondered.
Unfortunately, this part is over. I hope you enjoyed it. My apologies for all those quotes. Please have a good morning, afternoon, evening, or night. See you next time, my dear faves.